Kaitlyn Thomas is one of the most dynamic artists in Australian country music, with songs that are musically rich as well as entertaining and powerfully delivered. Her latest song is Hell of a Long Time, and she's coming to me, I think, back from somewhere lovely and warm because she's got this glow about her. Kaitlyn, where have you been?
Thank you for having me. I've just come back today from Bali. So I've been there for 2 weeks, living my best life, doing nothing. And yeah, now I'm back to reality.
2 weeks. Well, that's, by that time you probably are local. It must be hard to re-enter.
It is very hard. I've been going to Bali ever since I was 10 years old. My parents got
Oh.
married over there and I absolutely love it. It's the best holiday where the hardest decision is what are we going to have for dinner? And
Right.
I'm okay with that.
So your parents had a destination wedding.
They sure did. They sure did. Back in 2010, they got married, and yeah, I loved it. It was my first time going to Bali back then, and haven't looked back since. Fun
Fantastic.
spectacular.
Did you take your guitar with you, or is it a holiday for music as well?
No, well, I didn't take my guitar. However, I always get up and I perform, no doubt. There's bands all over Bali, and we have a thing called Anything Can Happen Sunday, Saturday, pretty much anything can happen any day of the week. And pretty much I performed, I think like 4 or 5 times over my holiday. So I can't
Right.
help myself. Can't help it.
Was it just like whatever band's playing, you just like, hey, do you mind if I grab the mic?
Yeah, it's like song requests, and they always go out to to the audience if they know it, and they're like, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah, and then it leads to like 4 or 5 songs later down the track, but it's always fun.
So, what are your Bali travel tips, given that you've been quite a few times? Anyone who's going for the first time, what do you recommend they do?
Look, I did for the first time this year the Bali Exotic Marine Park, which is I think it's a conservation. I think that's the right word. Who knows? Where they rescue wildlife out in the ocean. So we did a dolphin experience, and we got to swim with the dolphins and learn about their stories and what they're doing in order to protect them overseas, which is amazing. And we did that for the first time, and that was amazing. We spent pretty much nearly an hour in the water with them. It was incredible, and so I definitely recommend that. I'll be doing that again. We did the ATVs on the sand, and that was amazing as well. Especially my partner and my dad. They're in their element. If you're a thrill seeker and you want to do burnouts on the beach, that's the one to do. What else did we do? We normally go to the Waterbomb Park, which is just, a water park. That's
Right.
our regular go-to. That's always a lot of fun. But, the shopping over there is incredible and the people are lovely. And we always go over there to just relax and do nothing and get massages every day.
All
So we
right.
come back to reality going, okay, and wait a whole nother year to do it again.
Oh, shame. Well, but reality for you is making great music. As I said, the new single is Hell of a Long Time. And now you wrote this song with Troy Kemp, Michael Paynter, and Michael DeLorenzis. Was it a Zoom co-write?
It was. So I wrote Hell of a Long Time back in 2020. So
Oh,
going,
okay.
going back a while now. And at that point, COVID just kicked in. Being from Victoria at that moment as well, literally couldn't do anything. So I arranged the co-write with Troy and we wrote the song. And it's pretty much, we wrote it about that need of, not being able to see close friends and close family
Mm.
and reminiscing on, oh my goodness, you don't realize how good you've got it until you don't have it anymore.
Mhm.
I sat on that version of Hell of a Long Time for nearly 3 years. And there was something about it that I was just like, oh, it can be better. I know it can be better. And as songwriters, we always refine and we keep refining until in our heads we've got it perfect. I don't know why, but call us crazy. But then I took it to my producers, MSquared, Michael Paynter and Michael Dello, and we reworked the song together and made it what it is today. And it's pretty much more of that country anthem that, you go to a country music festival and you're like, oh my God, I wish we could do this every weekend. And same thing, it's got the same sentiment of, catching up with friends, going to a party and going, even though it might have been a year or, 6 months since we've seen each other, nothing's really changed. So
Mhm.
time's passed, but we haven't changed. When you catch up with friends, you're like, doesn't feel like 6 years have gone by. What do you mean? So,
Yeah.
hell of a long time is very much, you crank it up, you throw a couple of drinks back, and you have a party. That's what the song's about. Yeah.
And did you hold on to it for that time because you thought it could be improved and it wasn't ready to be out into the world?
A bit of both, like, yeah. And then at that point in 2020, I hadn't found my producer that got me as an artist as well. So it wasn't until I wrote Pretty Little Thing with Michael Paynter and Michael DeLorenzis that I was like, yeah, okay, these are the guys, they're going to get this song. Because I'd taken it to a few people prior and I was like, yeah, no, that's not where I want it to go. Because you have like this idea of what you want the song to sound like. And they were able to break down my creative confusiveness that, you know, every artist has when they go to a producer and they're like, I want it to be like XYZ. And it's nothing like that, but they actually break down what you actually really want, which is incredible. And yeah, I've got songs that I've been sitting on for years and I'll go back to them. And sometimes it just takes a new eyes and new perspective to go, that's the missing piece, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so it was a bit of both on that one, but I'm so wrapped with what it's sounding like now. It's better than what I ever could expect.
So yes, the Michaels are otherwise known as MSquared, and a lot of people will know them that way. So it does seem like that is very much a true collaboration for you with them.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Troy was amazing. I could still got all of the elements in it. The core of the song is still there. The chorus is like slightly different, but pretty much everything else is exactly the same. And those boys are absolute legends. And there's a reason why a lot of people choose to work with them, because they are great to work with, great collaborators, and they respect a lot of artists as well and respect your creative choices and want to enhance your sound as an artist and your point of difference, which is amazing.
Yeah. So do you enjoy co-writing generally, or are you a solitary writer who occasionally finds herself co-writing?
I'm a bit of both. Like I love co-writing in a room with people. I guess because, you know, during COVID, all I did was co-write online and I was like, this is just not my vibe. But I love going on like songwriting retreats and, you know, writing songs for me, but also writing songs for other people as well. There are a few songs that I've written by myself, or I've written majority of the song, and there's just an element that I'm missing, but I can't grasp it. And so if the song needs it, I will, like, you know, try and take it to a songwriting retreat or something like that and get it to where it needs to be. But I love the collaboration and working with people because it makes songwriting fun. And like I love songwriting for me as, you know, as an artist, but also as a creative person. I love writing for me, but I also love writing and getting ideas from other people because it just bounces. It's just awesome.
So songwriting retreats, I guess there are a few around. How do you find out about them though?
Pretty much through word of mouth, so through other musicians, ones that they've either posted. I'm like, damn, that one's really good. Yeah, cool. I'll put that on the list to do next year or whatever. But I've done the She retreat with Lynn Brotel. I've done that twice now. Once, no, twice. I think I've done it twice with her, and that's amazing. I've done the Carter and Carter songwriting retreat. That was in Kinglake, so that was only like half an hour from my house.
All right.
So, and that one was amazing, being a whole weekend away. And that's that. I think I like songwriting retreats for that because you're actually vacating, blocking out time to be creative, because life can get so crazy and hectic that you don't give yourself the time to just do it. And so you're pretty much forcing yourself to be creative and going, I'm chucking you here. You've got 3 days. Whatever comes out, comes out. And I always cry at these retreats. I don't know why. It's a big emotional experience for me. I don't know why. And I always tell Lynn and David Carter to pack a box of tissues because it's the time where I get to really let my guard down and actually get to, you know, writing songs that are very personal, which I guess, you know, that's what every artist wants to do. And I write a lot of songs from personal experiences as well. I've also done the DAG songwriting retreat up in Nundle near Tamworth. So I've done that one, and that one was a hell of a lot of fun. So I'm looking to find a few up here in Queensland, that's for sure. I know Lynn does them all over the place, but they're the ones that I've constantly gone to, which is, yeah.
you're just thinking about you saying you always cry at these retreats. Do you think it's because the songwriting is a catharsis and therefore it's just like this release of emotion, or is it actually the stories themselves that you're writing about?
I think it's a bit of both. It's like songwriting's therapy for a lot of people, where you really get to break down things that you're feeling or you didn't realize that that's what was going on. And yeah, the stories as well, because you're tapping into past moments, past, traumas or whatever. So
Mm.
it's a very emotional experience. Um,
Mm.
and I think that's where the best songwriting comes out is when you're really, you know, at your lowest, or not even your lowest, I guess your most vulnerable, because that's when
Yeah.
they pull the good stuff out. And I guess that's what relates to people as well when they're listening to music. They're like, there's a reason why they love particular songs, and that's because of that. So I'm a bit of both. I love the retreats because it's like my therapy and I need them. I need them to like, be able to keep my creativeness going. But yeah.
Yeah. It's also about being prepared to be vulnerable, I guess, because it's one thing to say it in theory, and we hear it quite a bit. It's like, oh, be vulnerable, but you have to be in a place. I actually think of security within yourself to be able to really do it. So I would imagine for you as an artist now that you've been working for a little while and you're still young, but perhaps reaching that stage where you think, yeah, I actually know what to do with these feelings when they arise. I've got this mechanism that can handle them.
No, that's exactly right. And it took a while to get there. Like I've been doing retreats and songwriting workshops like ever since I was like 10 years old. So I've been slowly breaking down my barriers. And now I'm like every time I go, it's like, okay, instant, it's like a switch, which is great. It's good. But yeah, it does take it's all about the environment that people create and that you feel comfortable and you feel like you can. Because when obviously if you're not comfortable, it ain't going to happen, and therefore what you're wanting to get out of it, you're not going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, you did start releasing music at a very young age. So that you starting those retreats at 10 is fits with your professional history.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So when I tell people that I've been doing music for that long, they're like, really? Really? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I have been. But yeah, it's been a part of my musical journey, and they're like, they're workshops for a reason. They're like a PD day. That's what I always say. And professional development. That's what's happening. Constantly developing, songwriting, crafting, everything.
Yeah. Now I'm curious about when you recorded the vocals for a hell of a long time, because it sounded like you were having a good time when you were recording the song. Do you kind of go into the studio and think, well, this is going to be fun, and that's what comes out, or do you intentionally like connect with the feeling of the song before you start recording?
I generally connect with the feeling of the song. So with MSquared, you're part of the whole production process from the ground dot to the end final product. And so the first, I think it did take 2 days. I think it took 2 or 3 days to do produce hell of a long time. So the first day we sort of reworked the song, to had ideas about what we wanted it to sound like, bits and pieces, references, what we wanted the outcome of the song to be, like a map kind of plan. And then the next day we laid down everything. And then the third day I came in and it was like go time. It was like, we need your vocals, get all your harmonies, and then we'll just add a few little extra little bits. And then that's a wrap. And the energy in the room with those two incredible legends is outstanding. And they're vibing, therefore you're vibing. And this song is definitely a vibe. And so I definitely channeled the feeling of what I wrote it for, but also the energy in the production really helped with my vocal performance. It also made me go, I need to turn it on for this, or else my vocal needs to match what's happening here, or else they don't align.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because the previous single, Damn You, is quite a different piece of singing, actually, quite a different song, quite a different piece of singing. There's even a different resonance in your voice. So is the process similar for that? Like you're going through that planning and then you're recording?
Yeah, it's very similar. Like Damn You is more of, it's not so much a fun song. It was more of a, emotional, had to connect with it, had to tap into the reason why I wrote the song and everything. And so the first two run throughs of that song it really didn't have any emotion in it. Like, it sounded okay, like, it sounded good, but it didn't have the imperfections, is what I'm going to say. It sounded, because what Paynter says to me, because I'm a singing teacher, he goes, you need to turn the singing teacher off. Not every note needs to be perfect. The imperfections is what makes the songs great. And once I got past that with Damn You, it was so therapeutic for me to even sing it. And every time I sing it now, I still get a little bit emotional, because it is tapping into something that was very personal in my life, being in a toxic relationship with an ex-best friend. And it definitely channeled through the song, that once I finished singing it and also finished filming the video clip where I was smashing things, that was kind of awesome. I got that sense of relief, like a big weight had been lifted off my shoulders. But yeah, but translate that to hell of a long time, it was just like a party in there. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So, and also that point about you know, being a singing teacher and that feedback that gave to you, I imagine, yeah, there's an unlearning process, but it's all the time, because every time you're going to the studio, it's like, well, I have to work now to unlearn the very things that I'm telling other people to learn.
Yeah, it's very much the same. So pretty much it's like, forget every vocal training that you've got. It's all about emotion and connection and connecting with the song to be able to translate that forward. And you have to create that environment for yourself, because you are in a studio. You're not on stage. You're not, yes, you are performing in some sort of way, but it's very personal, and it's like a blank canvas. So we got to paint the picture vocally. And yeah, I always, the first couple of takes, I'm like, yeah, cool. I just got to get my singing teacher, OCD brain like out of the way, and then I'm good to go.
All right.
Which is good. And you can hear the difference as well.
Yeah, right. And as you said, the imperfections, that idea of letting go of perfection as a goal, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you hear in a lot of other songs and stuff where the singer, their voice breaks or something, and it's those kind of little imperfections where their voice is shaky or anything like that. Like, that's where the true emotion has really come forward. And no matter what, it's always at that point when you're like, damn, like, that gets you a little bit, even though you don't intentionally mean it, but it's like every time you hear it, you're like, wow, okay. Yeah.
Now, I noticed in your bio that you cite Pat Benatar as a singing influence, and I tend to think she's underrated, as a
100%.
influence.
I couldn't agree more. I love Pat Benatar. Absolutely love her to the hilty. She is an incredible artist, incredible women in the music industry as well. And I love her vocal. She's a big vocal influence for me, because if you actually dive into her as an artist, her songs are insane. They're so good. And there's a few of my favorites in there, but it's just more about like her vocal attack, also like what the songs are about. And I've always said that if you take away all of the 80s, 90s, whatever, like the synth sort of stuff, and you bring it back down to like the elements of the instrumentation, you've pretty much got a country rock song right there. Like, it's
Interesting.
it's pretty much there, whether she be a country artist or not. But I absolutely love her sound, and she's definitely one of my major influences that I gravitate towards every now and then. I pull her in, like, yeah, pull her in here.
Yeah. Who are your other main influences?
So I absolutely got so many, it's ridiculous. I had Linda Ronstadt's one of my all-time favorites. Sheryl Crow is a big time. I've mentioned her a lot. Love her. Then you've got, I love Carrie Underwood, grown up loving her. The McClymonts here in Australia, love them, have every album, every word, love them to bits. Then you've got Shania Twain, because if you don't like Shania, I'm like, what have I?
Who are you? Yeah.
Who are you, right? Then you've got, your Dolly, and I love all my traditional country, and I also love the people, like I love Lainey Wilson. Oh, I love her, and I love what she's doing for women in country music right now. Big advocate for her. So I've got quite a diverse range of women that I love to listen to vocally, also love their artistry. love their stage presence. Like they're all got elements of who they are as an artist that I have, I gravitate towards. And there's a thread that connects them all. And that's obviously like what they believe in, what they stand for, what they sing about, and also how they conduct themselves in the industry as well.
Yeah. Now, apart from Lainey as a contemporary artist, are you listening to anyone else contemporary?
Who am I listening to? I listen to everybody. It's crazy. I jump through, like I go through all stages. So I love listening to, I listen to like the hot country. I love, oh, here she is, Megan Maroney. I really love her. She's really cool. And then you've got, Ashley Cook. Love her. She's amazing. So there's quite a few. Love Casey Tyndall as well. There's a lot of women that I love in the music industry. Plus, you've got the boys as well. Kind of secretly love the boys as well. I love Bailey Zimmerman, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, all of them, love them to bits. But I always tend to gravitate towards the women's side because obviously there's songs I connect to more than the men. But I do love the country rock elements that the boys bring to the party. So
I think it's absolutely normal to gravitate towards female artists when you are a female artist yourself.
That's right. Yeah. Don't know why. It's like a, gravitational pull. We're just like, push.
But also having the stories there that connect with things that happen in your own life, because there are differences in things that men and women experience growing up. The way girls grow up, there are certain experiences that we have that boys won't necessarily. So
yeah, that's right. And I wanted, with hell of a long time, I wanted a drinking song. I hadn't had one of those. That was also part of my intention to write that song, was I needed a drinking song and a party song. And people like Gretchen Wilson is another one of my major influences, and Jane Denham as well. Like they're ones that that can do it. And I'm like, well, if the boys can do it, we can do it too. So
yes, yeah, Jane's a phenomenal artist and brilliant live. Anyone who hasn't seen her.
yeah.
So what else is coming up for you?
So I've got quite a few little things happening. In October, I'm playing a full band show here in Brisbane at The Secret. That's the name of the venue. I'm like, ooh, what's
I know, because there's the venue. It's still a secret, and I think The Secret is separate to It's Still a Secret. There's some kind of thing going on.
I don't know. But anyway, Secret, I'm like, cool, this is the vibe. So I'm playing there on the 31st of October. So I'm super, super excited for that. And then after that, I'm flying down to Melbourne for my annual Camp for Cancer that I do every year with my band. So I'm flying down there in November, I think the 16th of November, playing on the 17th, which will be amazing. And then I've got the Country Cruise with Will Day and Jake Whitaker. So that's amazing. And next thing you know, we're heading up to Tamworth. Like we're at that point of the year where everything's wrapping up, and I'm just like, 2024. What a vibe. What a time.
What a time. And also, yes, it is the time when I need to start asking people about Tamworth, because I was looking ahead thinking it's not that far away now.
And it's creeping up on everything. So I've got a few little performances up at Tamworth. I'm always going and I love catching up with everybody. But one thing that I've noticed since moving up here in Queensland is that everyone's here that I see normally once a year, in a blue moon. And that country music up here in Queensland, there's always something happening every weekend. So I'm like, financially, it's not the end game, but it's okay, because if you love country music, there's always something going on.
Well, so this is great insight for anyone who is living in Southeast Queensland or visiting. So are you talking around the Brisbane area? There's lots going on?
Yeah, there's heaps going on. It's, if it's every couple of weekends, there's always something happening country music related. And I remember when we first came up, I went to Jody Ringo's in the city, and that's a country nightclub. Didn't know that. And I went to go watch Tyler Rodriguez. She told me to come on down, and they had line dancing, and it was such a vibe. And me being a Victorian girl, I was like, there's a country club in the CBD. I still can't even fathom that, to be honest. But we got there at like 6 o'clock, and there's everyone line dancing, and it literally felt like it was like 1 a.m. at 6 p.m.
Right.
And so, if you love all of your, you know, line dancing and you want to see a live band and everything like that, like that's a really good place to go. And you even got like Dirty Harry's in Toowoomba as well. Haven't been there yet, but it's on my bucket list to go to. But there's heaps of country music venues that are always have someone playing there, which is good.
Well, love the recommendations, and I'm sure some of those clubs will be playing your song, and the latest song is Hell of a Long Time. Kaitlyn Thomas, as ever, a great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure chatting. Hopefully I didn't talk your head off because I tend to do that. But no, thank you so much for having me once again.